All right, this is interesting. So for a show like us, we're finally actually making his topic debut, Mr. Beast, literally the biggest YouTuber in the world, right? I mean, I definitely respect his grind and I really appreciate his story to get where he is. I don't consume his content, but he had a very interesting quote. He put out a tweet earlier this week, or he actually put it last weekend, that people felt were contradicting. So let me read you the tweet. You tell me how you feel about it, and we'll go from there. So he tweeted on March 14th that it's painful watching you wannabe YouTube influencers to quit school and jobs for a pipe dream. For every person like me that makes it, thousands don't. Be smart, please. That's what he said. So, okay. He's not wrong. And there's definitely a lot of people who want to be viral stars. And there's a lot of people who are influencers who want to be big. There's a lot of people who just make content who want to do it for a career, right? And clearly, here is an example of that. I will say it's easy for him to say that, but I could understand somebody trying to make their dream come true to hear how it's a pipe dream. That's the only problem I had. I do agree you shouldn't quit your job to focus on content full time if you don't have another means of income. Now, if you have a means of income to pay your bills, then quit your job. But we do have to pay for stuff. But as long as you have that, which not a lot of people do, it is hard. So I don't blame Mr. Beast for saying that, and he's completely right. But I don't like people who are on the other side trying to denounce how hard it is to make it. And they're not wrong in saying that either. But somebody else has to make it one day too, right? But that's the point of showing how bad you want it, how creative you can be, how original you could be, how informative and entertaining as well, and finding your groove into putting yourself in the mainstream like that to get an audience. So I did not like the small discouraging part that I felt from that. But as long as you have your ducks in order, as long as you know where you're getting your income to pay for your bills, and as long as you know it's going to take an extremely long time to make those big ambitious goals, then go for it. Why not? We have one life to live, right? So I do respect Mr. Beast for what he said. Just don't really point out how discouraging it can be, even if it is true.
Uh, all right. I
Mhm.
I actually so I didn't have a problem with what he said. I didn't have a problem with the tweet. I also don't watch a lot of Mr. Beast content. I only know what happens when he ends up in the news, like the regular news for whatever. But I mean, I guess pipe dream versus just saying like, dream or whatever. Like I get it. Maybe some of the semantics could have been better, but I think what he's probably reacting to is less people who are creating content and they want it to be their career, but they've got a plan. They got like a business plan, right? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they've thought about it. There's I feel a lot of kids, like young kids. I don't just mean like college kids, young kids who have kind of decided that they want to be an influencer when they grow up. And I get like when you're a little kid, like when we were all little kids, right? You want to be like an astronaut or like a rock star, something crazy hard, right? Something
Yeah.
that's not easy to do. But you knew you couldn't do it like straight up. Like it's not something that could just happen for you. You had to like you still had to go to school, you still had to practice at something, you still had to learn, you still had to develop skills. And then you chase your dream and you see where you land. If a 10-year-old decides they want to be like a content creator professionally, like a famous YouTuber, I'm not just saying content creator professional, I mean like famous YouTuber. They could get on like their iPhone and start the next day, and that's going to ruin a lot of, I think, important like parts of that kid's life. That it's going to take them out of like really important learning moments, and I think that's what he's reacting to. I don't think he's saying like, I mean, like, look, the little insider here on the show, Kara, you create content as your primary income, right?
Yeah.
So, and then Matt and I, obviously, we both create content, not our primary income, but we both have jobs. like real
Yeah, and like
jobs.
yeah, and like I mean I've said before, I don't necessarily think it should be like encouraged if you have like a specific niche that you can appeal to, or you're just really driven to make like some kind of content that you think can make it big. I think that's more fair than just I want to be famous and make my money online.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I would say, like for me, like as a writer, that's like I do this show, of course, but the content I try to create is writing. I'm a writer, and so, but I had to learn. I had to learn how to do that, and I have a plan, right? And I didn't start at 11. I didn't start writing stuff at 11 years old and just like posting on forums,
Hmm.
whatever came to my brain. You know what I mean? Like I still had to go through a lot of the very important like steps of growing up. And I think that because influencer can really happen at any age, we see kids who are young and influencers now. It's making
Right.
people want to just be famous, rich people right off rip. And I do think that's a problem. I think that's what he's reacting to. I don't think he's talking about people who have a plan for a business and think they can fill an actual niche in entertainment or in
Hmm.
education. I
Yeah.
think they're talking about like kids who are like, I just want, and they're like, I'll do prank videos. Like I've seen 200 prank videos. I'll do
Oh
Oh
prank
yeah.
my
videos.
God.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
prank
right.
YouTubers, it's like a
Yes.
scourge.
I think that but again, kids too, because even adults who are doing it, we can assume, we don't know, but we can assume there's like a business plan, right? They know when they're going to post. I know what content they're going to put. You know what I mean? Like they're running it like a business is my guess. Kids are not. 10 years old, you're not running it like a business. And if you are, then you know what, go for it. But I think that's his point is like think about your future in a way that's reasonable. Don't just go for the moonshot. Like develop a plan, develop the skills, and then tackle it. And you're just not
Right.
doing that at 15. You're not developing those skills at 15.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, and as I said, I definitely appreciate what that type of honesty, no doubt. All I'm saying too is just don't also look at it as like, I'm on the other side. I have to, I have to, be the dad in this and be the, you know, I want to choose my words carefully too, because I don't disagree with what he's saying. I'm just saying, you know, keep that
The wording.
reality. Yeah, keep that reality, understand the reality, but know even amongst that reality, you can accomplish your goals if you know what to do to approach that and how long it will take.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think he was trying to stop people from doing that. I think the
Yeah, I
words,
think
yeah.
yeah, he just maybe didn't use the perfect
Right,
words
yeah,
so that it could
yeah.
be
Yeah,
interpreted 100% how he intended it to be, but yeah.
right.
Yeah. That I took it to mean less like that. I don't think he was trying to say no one should try and do what I did. I think he's saying that most people won't even if they try. So you have to understand what that means and what that looks like and what you're doing. Like you have to have a
Yeah.
plan. You can't
And I
just
mean
you can't just do it.
all my income right now comes from content creation, but then at the same time, like I'm in school right now because
Hmm.
I mean a lot of my work is heavily based on how I look, and it's not like
Hmm.
I'm gonna be 40
Hmm.
and still wanting to do what I'm doing now. So I'm in school, like I'm
Exactly.
working towards stuff. I don't think it would be smart to encourage people to just not continue bettering themselves,
Mhm.
I don't know.
I agree. I think that's the point. It's just have a plan, develop your skills. Don't just put all your eggs in,
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
Especially early. Don't put all your early eggs in, I'm going to be a famous YouTube star because it's hard to do and it's something that you need to practice,
I
essentially.
kind of have a good example of this. I have a little brother who really wanted to be a pro gamer, COD. He was never that good. He like blew off school. He hasn't graduated high school because he was so determined to be a pro gamer. And then he a few years after he turned 20 realized, huh, I have nothing. And he started to come to terms with like, he's not going to be a pro gamer. What am I supposed to do with my life now? And I have nothing built up to try to switch to something else.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll
Yeah.
say this though. I play Fortnite and these kids are very good. These children are pretty good. They absolutely wreck me. But that's me saying that. Like, I'm not playing against like the best in the world. So if you just because you killed me 4 times doesn't mean you're ready to go pro, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah, I think it's fair to understand the realistic world that's out there, but understanding as long as you are prepared for that, and especially the time for what you want to do and how long it'll take, you can make it work. So as long as you understand that coming in, and especially having the income stream, then I say go for it. But just understand, there is luck involved, but it's
Luck and
okay
time.
to go for that. Yeah, so I just want to say, Mr. Beast, again, I don't disagree, but I think we all come to the conclusion, just use better wording to not make it not seem so contradicting, because that's what a lot of the comments I saw regarding that. So people's like, oh, it's easy for you to say that, but yeah, you made it. Or people saying, how come you could do it, I can't? I think that's what was misconstrued here.
Yep, and I see that too.
Yeah, and this just is also similar. There's this producer I'll never forget. Hearing him, he's a radio producer in New York. I won't say his name. A rare time won't. But he does a podcast, right? Well, he's a radio producer. You hear him on the radio, and he does a podcast, which I listen to both. And by the way, I disagree with a lot of what he says in general. But I think it's important for me to hear the other side, even if I disagree. And sometimes I think he's an annoying old man, but I do think he's very good and entertaining, and I listen to his stuff. But someone asked him, how do you do what you do? He said, yeah, don't go for it. So hard, so niche. I was just lucky enough to be in a brand of this famous radio station to help get me that revenue. And again, even if that is true, you can't tell these people, like, you can't kick them to the curb like that when they have the opportunities to. Like, as long as they're alive, living and breathing, and have the revenue stream, why not go for it and try? And I know it's maybe easier for me to say that as a very ambitious person, but I do think my goals are still realistic to make what I want possible with this show and whatever I want. So again, if I was his shoe, I would just say, in this position, I would say just have a plan and understand the timing it'll take for that. As long as you do that,
that's definitely the better answer.
Yeah. And as long as you do that, you'll be part of that next generation of content creators, because eventually all gonna fade away, and somebody else has to step up. It's like I'll never forget. There's this do you know who the actor Clark Gable is?
I do, actually.
Yeah.
A very old timing actor.
So
right?
really big in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Last role was in 62. There's a comedian talk about Clark Gable was literally the biggest star in the entire world for the first half of the 20th century. He literally couldn't be brought down. Yet if you mention him now, nobody knows who the hell he is unless you're a huge film person.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the point. Eventually, Seinfeld said it in his act once. New people every 100 years. So, why not at least try with it? So that's what I have to say there.